So the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Pro has been out for over 3 months now, and I have a lot of thoughts, especially when it comes to the software and how the average consumer will actually use this phone. Now, forget about iMessage, forget about FaceTime, forget about everything you knew about the iPhone, because there are so many features within the phone that Apple themselves do not talk about for some weird reason. But that's why I'm here. I'm going to go over them extensively and hopefully give a different perspective on the iPhone generally. Let's go. Now, before we do that, let's quickly go over the design and what you get for $999, shall we? Now, there is not much of a difference between the iPhone 14 Pro to the other iPhones. It is the same body and design over the last couple of years. It has a square design with a stainless steel frame, making it quite an uncomfortable phone to use due to the sharpness of the edges. However, it is 6.1 inches tall, so that makes it easier to reach all 4 corners of the phone without any issues. Now, Apple maintaining the same form factor really helps reduce hand fatigue. Now, one of the biggest changes this year is brightness. On the iPhone 13 Pro, the brightness was pretty decent, great in fact, depending on who you ask. Now, the brightness was 1000 nits manually and 1200 nits when it was automatic. Now on the iPhone 14 Pro, Apple took it up a notch. It goes all the way up to 2000 nits of max brightness, which is higher than the Galaxy S22 Ultra, which is roughly the same price. Now, the battery has also seen an upgrade, coming in at 3200 mAh of battery. Now, it is hands down the better battery than the iPhone 13 Pro, and it has consistently given me 7 to 9 hours of screen on time daily, and I only charge this when I'm about to sleep. Talk about an upgrade, huh? Now, a new feature that has been added to the iPhone 14 Pro is the Dynamic Island, which allows for easier access to apps that are playing in the background like your music or your timers. It even allows you to end calls right there. Now, most people don't like it or believe it's a gimmick, but in my opinion, is it really a gimmick if it's something you use on a daily basis? I don't think so, but leave your comments down below what you think about the Dynamic Island. Now, as I said, Apple has so many features on the iPhone that they do not talk about for some reason, and these features work because of the A16 bionic chip. Now, it may not be extremely customizable like the Android phones, but the integration with iOS 16 makes this one of the smoothest phones to use in 2023. Now, the 120Hz refresh rate is silky smooth, and the bugs have been ironed out from iOS 15. Now, the animation and the ability to change your wallpaper and widgets makes it feel brand new each day, which is great for people like me who constantly change the colors of their wallpapers every couple of weeks. Now, one of its most standout features with iOS 16 is the ability to remove the background from your pictures, basically turning your picture into a PNG file. So if you're trying to make a thumbnail for TikTok or Instagram Reels or even YouTube Shorts, you simply go to the picture, tap and hold it, and it automatically removes the subject. This also works for video. It is honestly one of the most intuitive features that I have seen, and I don't think anybody right now is copying this feature. Yet, anyway. Now, you can tap and share, or you can use the second dope feature they added. You can now hold and drag the picture anywhere you want. So if you want to send a picture to your friend on iMessage, you can just drag and drop just like a computer. And this also works with phone contacts, messages, and basically anything that you can drag and drop on your phone. Moving on, a lot of people don't know how powerful screenshots are on your iPhone. It has so many productivity hacks I wish more people covered. For starters, you can now copy a screenshot to your clipboard and delete it. This way you can send it to whoever you want and it never saves on your phone, thus saving space and memory. Now, it even goes further by saving it as a PDF if it is an important document. As a creator on the internet, we are given a lot of documents to look at or sign, and sometimes it takes a long process with DocuSign or even Adobe, but with your iPhone, you can screenshot said documents or contracts and apply your signature of choice. Now, the number of times this has saved me time and money is understated. But there is more. If you want to emphasize a word or a number in a screenshot, you can use the magnifier and opacity tool to highlight it even further. You can also add different directional arrows if you really want them to know what you're talking about. And finally, when you take a screenshot on a website, you can save the screenshots as one full page, which is pretty great. Just like the Pixel 7, the iPhone has voice dictation, but it's not remotely close to Google and its AI function. Now, regardless, on the iPhone 14 Pro, through the Notes app is where I use this feature. Now, it works pretty well. It knows when to add periods, it knows when to add commas, and it's mostly accurate. Now, I use this for meetings every now and then if my Pixel 7 is not available, and it has served me well. The Mail app has also gotten a little buff with iOS 16. You can now schedule when you want to send an email, or you can remind yourself about an email. This comes in handy during work hours, and maybe you're pretty busy or you need to send a mail by 9 a.m. the next day or even the next week, and you do not want to forget. Also within the mail app, you now have the ability to undo sent emails by 30 seconds. Now we've all been there. You sent an email without an attachment, or you sent an email by accident, or you sent an email cussing out your manager. We've all been there. So it's always nice to have that little cushion every now and then. Now this next feature is pretty dope. With your iPhone, you can transcribe handwritten notes to text on your phone through the Notes app. Now this is one of those features I wish I knew back in the day, especially when I was going through uni, because it would have made my life a tad bit easier. However, if your handwriting is not the clearest or not the best, it may have difficulties transcribing. Next, we have back tap. This is not a new feature, but it's been there for a while, but I want to shed more light on it. The back of your phone is essentially a button that can be used to activate different shortcuts allowed on your iPhone, and it gives you two options of double tapping or triple tapping. Now there are some features that are simple yet very effective. Now for one, with iOS 16, you can now show your Wi-Fi password straight from your phone. So if you have guests over and they're using an Android phone, you can easily just show your password instead of checking your router or even your laptop. There's also the ability to move multiple apps around the home screen, and I'm not sure when this started happening, maybe a couple of years ago, but I figured this out sometime last year, and it has been a game changer for me as I have about 30 to 50 apps on my phone, and moving them one by one does not make any sense to me. So if you've been doing this one by one, well, now you know a great way to move all your apps at once. Also, if you edit pictures on your phone through the Photos app, this one is for you. You can edit one picture however you want, copy that edit, and then paste it to as many pictures as you want. This is very similar to Lightroom. This saves you a lot of time, energy, and honestly a lot of effort doing them one by one. So it's great that Apple added this to the iPhone. And last but certainly not the least, the ability to pin an app on your phone. Now we've all been there. We've given our phone to someone that we're not really cool with to make a phone call or to see something, and before we know it, they start snooping through your phone. Now with guided access, you can restrict movements to one app and it cannot be turned off without a passcode or Face ID. Now you'd be surprised how many times this has come in handy for me, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come in handy for you guys that are watching. Now I fully expect Apple to add more features to the iPhone this year, but what are your favorite features on your iPhone? And if you have any questions, ask me down in the comments and I will be happy to answer. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. My name is KJOS, and I'll catch you guys very soon in the next one where I talk all things tech.